All right. Well, we're putting the payphone back together. Now, as you can see, the paint finally dried on the payphone, so it took longer than I expected, but it did work. Basically, it came down to the way that I prepared the vegetable oil, the canola oil. I did not let it oxidize enough before I mixed it up with the coloring, which was basically a combination of soot that I got from, just everywhere. And I did put a little bit of calcium compounds in there, mix it together. I also added a bit of iron oxide, and I just got it wrong. But that's okay. I made a note of what I did, and the next time that I do this, I'll be a little better. But it doesn't look bad. And again, this is not a show quality restoration. This is basically just protect it from the rust, get it working, put it back outside. Now, again, these are the different parts of the phone. As you can see, the coin return has been put back in, and we have our relay, chute, and here is the circuit board. Now, the main reason why I took the phone apart in the first place was because the battery had gone dead. Now, I don't know where I put the battery. Oh, don't tell me I lost it. Oh well. Anyway, before we do any of that, we have to make sure that the circuit board is correctly connected to the phone line. Now, I don't have a phone line. I'm using basically a channel bank which generates a voltage. So what I need to do, I need to determine what is positive and what is negative. Now, this can be a little confusing because phone systems, they typically have what's known as a positive ground. So you think, well, is the ground the negative or positive? No, that just means that the positive part of a phone circuit is connected to Earth. This is done as a way to reduce interference. Now, because I'm not running it off of a phone company, I'm just going to be using the local loop that I have. So all I care about is the absolute polarity. Now, in telephone technology, you often hear the term tip and ring. This is a headphone jack. Now, this one is stereo, but if this was mono, this shield would be all in one. Now, in this case, this is your ground or your shield. And then over here, this would be the ring. See this part right here? That's the ring. And this is a tip. Because in the old days, the operator would plug into a cord board. And that's how they used to establish the connection. So they came up with the term tip and ring. Not to be confused with the ringer, which makes the phone ring. Okay, we know what that sounds like. All right. So what I need to do, I need to figure out now, later phone systems, they use standardized cable where you have a solid color and a striped color. But in this case, this is some old Bell system cable. This actually came with the payphone when I got it. And this little stub of wire, you have 4 conductors. You have a red, green, and so on. Now, normally what they would do, the red would be the ring, and the green would be the tip. So that one should be positive. So we have to see if this is even connected like it should be. So I'm going to go ahead and take this multimeter, and I'm going to connect. Now, if the green, let's see, the green would be, the red is the ring, the green should be positive. So we'll put this one over here. We'll put this one over here. Now what we have here is kind of interesting. Okay, so we have the 48 volts, which is coming off of the channel bank, and that's good, but it's wrong. Now, in telephony, remember, although it is a positive ground, the tip is going to be positive. So in this case, the tip looks like it's red. So we'll go ahead and put this over here, and green would be the ring. Okay, we have about 47. It should be 48, but this should be fine. 46.7. I may have to adjust the software, because it seems like the voltage is decreasing. But this tells me that the positive is actually the red. Now over here, I don't know if you can see it, but the terminals on the board are labeled T and R. And you can see that R is over here on the left, and T is on the right. So If T is going to be positive, that means I'm going to go ahead and connect the red one to this one here on the right. Okay, and that's pretty simple to do. So we'll go ahead and, now of course if it rings, we maybe get a 90-volt shock, but it's isolated, so a chance of getting a painful shock is pretty low. Now also notice that we have these additional 2 wires which don't really go anywhere. And what they used to do a lot in the phone days, they would just kind of wind this up. And since it doesn't go anywhere, we're not going to worry about it. We'll just tighten this up here. Okay, now again, this one is the positive. And remember, the positive would be the tip, which is located over here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to loosen this up. We're going to go ahead and stick the red wire down into the tip connection right there. And we'll tighten this down. Sometimes it's a little hard to get it in straight, but it'll go. I don't know why we get so many airplanes around here. I can't wait till I move out of this place. I hate that all the time. Okay, now you can see that this is established connection. Now we're going to go ahead and connect this one over here, which would be the ring. And we'll go ahead and stick that in there like so. I can get it in. Okay. Just tighten this up a bit. Now, as you can see, this is pretty straightforward. Not a lot of difficulty. One thing I used to see is there's a couple of people on the internet. I know there's one guy on YouTube. I think he calls himself A1 Telephone or whatever it is, A1 Electronics. He makes a big deal about, I'm going to install a modular plug so you can put any size cord and color and blah, 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 whatever. Okay. But I always thought to myself, man, if you're a telephone guy, why would you need that? You just use a terminal, screw it in there. And besides, all of the newer circuit boards that are in these payphones, they all have a modular plug built in. But because this is designed for the Bell System payphones, it's screw terminal. Now again, we're not talking about the most beautiful job here. I need to locate where in the world did that thing go? Let me see if I can find the battery. Okay. I have the cover. We're going to go ahead and put this back on. Now, I went ahead and I left the screws in there so they wouldn't get lost. So we'll have to take them out. Oh, sounds like the mail truck is coming. Postal Service. As long as they don't go postal, I'm happy. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and take this out. Now, in the meantime, while I'm showing you how I get the payphone back into service, let's just talk about some other things while we're at it. Now, as you probably know, I've been posting a little bit more videos lately. I would post a lot more videos, but I've been busy working. I have a lot of people that they pay me to do these labor jobs. Back when I was doing yesterday, I was actually drilling holes for hurricane panels. There's a few people out there that still don't have impact windows, so they wanted to have some pre-made screws because this is going to be a very interesting hurricane season. It's been over 90 degrees pretty much every day, except for the last couple where we had a slight break. But it is not getting any cooler, and it kind of makes me wonder what's going to end up happening this year. Don't think it's going to be a very pleasurable experience, as far as I can tell. Let's see here. All right, so we got these kind of small screws and kind of small holes, and usually what ends up happening, I end up dropping it. But you're just here watching me be silly, making a fool out of myself. All right. There we go. Okay. Yep, there goes the mail. All right. Well, the mail came. There wasn't any mail for me, but they did send the sale papers. And I don't see any really good sales. I mean, we got the Winn-Dixie. They seem kind of expensive lately. Sedanos. Yeah. I don't see anything good. Well, Presidente has the chicken legs again, so I guess we'll be having heart attack chicken. And what else? Fresco y Mas. Well, what do you know? Looks like Fresco y Mas has the beef on sale again, but it's the condition when you spend $30. So that tells me, I don't know what else I'd spend $30 on. Everything else is too expensive. Well, I guess there's no good sales. There's some produce, but really not much I can use. Anyway, so much for that. So what I've done, I'm just putting this back together. Now, see if I can get these screws in there without losing them. That's always a trick. These are flat screws, so they're going to be a little trickier to get in the hole. I could probably do this outside. It'd be a lot easier than trying to do it inside the case. But let's see if it's even possible. There's one right there. I hope I don't have to take this thing out. Oh, is it going? Nope, I guess it isn't. I guess I may have to take this out. And of course, I dropped it like I knew I would. All right, so what we'll do, we'll just kind of loosen this up. And then maybe, let's see. I have to loosen this one up too. Anyway, I've noticed that in the last week or so, price of food has gone way up. And also, I see that the Central Bank of Canada is lowering interest rates again to prop up their overpriced real estate market. So it's only a matter of time before the Fed does the same, which will cause more inflation. Basically, we're living in a world that thrives on debt. If they can't keep creating debt, all these parasites, the billionaires and all these lowlifes, they're going to go bankrupt, basically. So they may actually have to go out there and do real work, which they would never do. You think they'd be outside now in this heat trying to get actual work done? I got work I have to do this afternoon, but for now, I'm waiting for my lunch to cook. I'm one of those people that just doesn't like to be idle, you know? I don't want to just sit there and watch some TV or sports or whatever else. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm sharing it with you so you can see. It's got to be, it's hot out here and I'm in the shade and I'm sweating already. So anyway, this just fits in a tab and then it has this little screw, which I think is partially stripped because it's never really fit right. Just get enough in there where it holds. No, it's not holding. Probably the one reason I didn't want to take it out, but oh well. I may have to get out here with a tap or something and fix this the right way. But for now, it'll be all right. Okay, the last thing I need to do is to install the housing and then we can see if the phone is working. Housing's over here. Here it is. Okay. Bunch of wires hanging out of here. Anyway, here is the housing, and you can see. Now I'm going to have to put in the T key because it kind of goes with the housing, so we're going to move this back. This is locked in. I'm going to unlock it. I can't seem to do. What is going on here? That's weird. Oh, stupid me. This is the actual lock that keeps it from sliding, so I have to put the key in there, turn it. Now it'll move. Okay. There we go. All right, so this housing is now ready to install. We're going to plug in this plug, which looks something like a vacuum tube because this is an old design. So we have to plug this in. All right. And now all we have to do is position this in place, as you can see. Oh, wait a minute. I still messed up. This, let me just put this back. Stupid. No, maybe not. Hold on. This needs to go in here so that it's ready to, there we go. Okay, now, let me just place this over here. I'm trying not to scratch it. Usually when these payphones would be in real use, they would just kind of slam it together. I'm just being a little more careful. Okay, there we go. So the payphone is now in place, so all we have to do is turn this over to lock it in, take the homemade key out, and then the lock, just turn this back this way. It is now in there. So let's see what we have. Ah, I don't know if you can hear that. Okay, so it's got to go through its cycle. There we go. Hear that? It might have lost its program. Okay, we'll let that sit there. Now, the payphone itself, it does need some attention, but it is working again. So what I want to do next, I'm going to make some number cards for it, something that I can use, you know, that'll have the phone number on it and whatever. I may even put a little phone number under here so that you know where it's coming from. But really, that's it. I don't want to lose my keys. Got my tools, and I got my meter. So that's a success. So the payphone is fixed, and I'll make some more videos on it pretty soon. Well, I should have looked on the ground because it was sitting right next to me. Here's the battery. Now, if you remember, there is a terminal down here that the battery has to plug into. So we're going to go ahead and try to slip that in. Now, it's a little tricky because they don't make it easy. I don't know why they do it like this. Oh, there we go. Okay, so the battery is now in place. So the next thing we want to do, we have this nice little pouch, this little pocket that's put in there where the battery can hang out. Now, of course, being plastic, it's broken, but it should be enough to hold it right there. We'll put the wire back here. And now I need to get the cover. Let me go ahead and get that.